So Trump signs an executive order allowing for South Africans, people that are of South African descent, they're actually originally they were Dutch and some were English, that live in South Africa to be refugees. Allow them refugee status here in the United States. So there's a bit of background to this. The headline says, people of South Africa to be refugees in the United States. First of all, I'm sure a lot of people know this. These are, by and large, a lot of these are white farmers. What happened was, short story, is that there was a negative, an indigenous African population. They were called the Khoisan people, spelled with a Khosian. I believe that's how you pronounce it. People that lived in that area, and like a lot of other occasions when Europeans got there, they spread smallpox and it wiped the population out. So it was mostly unpopulated when the Europeans began to settle there. South Africa is an escarpment. It's mountainous. It's something of a temperate climate there in the southern part of Africa. But when you get further north, it becomes tropical. It merges into grassland, desert, and you go further north, you get into jungles. But anyway, so it essentially became a Western country. It became a European country. And there's a long history with that. They found gold. The British wanted it. There was the Boer Wars. It was pretty brutal. It was basically a colonial war. So it was colonialism on top of colonialism. And then what happened is that South Africa progressively became a more wealthier country. Well, then a lot of people from sub-Saharan Africa, a lot of Africans, these are Bantu peoples, came to migrate into this wealthier economy. So then South Africa had an apartheid. And there's, again, a lot of history I'm skipping over. What happened is that these South Africaners, the Bantu peoples, became in communist ideologies. And so there's a lot of envy. There's a lot of, they don't have, that culture doesn't have the appreciation, generally speaking, of wealth creation. I say generally speaking. Of course, individually, you can have a lot of exceptions and examples, or it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true on the whole. But so generally, these people, they didn't have the appreciation for the type of work ethic for science and technology that the people of South Africa, the European populations, do. And so the black population that migrated into South Africa got entangled with communism. And of course, as they migrated, you get this tribalism. Basically, what you have is a race war going on in South Africa. And the blacks have taken over that country. And they're talking about confiscating land and property from the white farmers in South Africa. The country has become chaotic. It's very high crime, a lot of theft, rapes, killings that go on, particularly targeting white people. There's a lot of envy going on the part of the black population that is now there. And so they've been taken over. It's a lot of people of South Africa, the white population, they see that as their country. It's their home country. They don't want to leave. Given the situation, in my opinion, I would get the heck out of there. I remember going to high school with this one of the girls in my class. She was from South Africa, and she didn't want to talk about some of the stuff that was going on. It is an absolutely terrible place to be. It is so degenerated. It is so far gone as far as, essentially, it's like a civilization collapse that's going on in real time. So Russia, for a while, was taking these white farmers. It makes sense. Russia needs farmers. They have a reduction in their population, particularly the rural population. They're in desperate need for farmers in Russia. Well, I don't see anything wrong with taking these people here in the United States. As long as they are productive people, they come here to work. They're intelligent. They're not these are not people with criminal backgrounds. These are not people that, criminally came to the United States on quote unquote refugee status when in fact they're just really economic migrants. Now, of course, some of these people are willing to work, and if they went through the proper legal channels, I wouldn't have a problem with admitting them to the United States. But anyway, the South Africa case is a little bit different. Of course, again, I'm not saying that all the white people are good. There's a lot of crime there, and a lot of these white people have also got involved in a lot of this crime as well. Obviously, we shouldn't be taking these people in, but the bottom line is I judge people based on their individual character, and what's going on in South Africa is absolutely terrible. It is horrific going on in South Africa, but it's a foreign country, and we also need to worry about this country. So what we can do is limited. In this case, if I was a South Africa person, I would say either you stay there, you fight, and that means you need to be armed. You need a population that is willing to fight, that is willing to fight for certain areas of Africa. You probably have to break off regions in South Africa and become your own independent countries, and then have border security. You kick the criminals out of your country or prosecute them, and be armed and be a free country and be wealthy and prosperous in those areas, and go ahead and let them be envious in other parts of South Africa, or you just leave and just get out of there. So those are your options. And the admitting some of these people as refugees, I don't have a problem with.